faking it gets exhausting. Here, we keep it real. What's good, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Curls and Courage podcast. I'm your host, Kinsley Meeks, wellness entrepreneur, fitness coach, bikini bodybuilder, and digital creator, here to inspire you to live boldly and unlock your highest physical and mental potential. As always, I hope you guys are feeling amazing, feeling blessed, taking care of your body, taking care of your mind. Super excited for today's episode because today we're going to be talking about one of my absolute favorite topics, fitness. So the other day, I'm on my way home from work and I had this guy just kind of stop me and pull me to the side. And of course, my friendly ass is like, hey, what's up? Like, how can I help you? So this guy starts just complimenting my physique. I'm wearing like a little crop top where he can like visually see my core and like my, little six pack or whatever, not in a flirty or disrespectful way, just in a way that he was like truly admiring, like, hey, I see you putting the work in and like, can I get some advice? So we're having an in-depth conversation and this guy is kind of asking me what I do to develop my core, to strengthen my core, how I stay lean, and how I have the physique that I had. And of course, it was super sweet. Honestly, it made my day. But after we kind of got into this conversation, I thought it would be a great topic to share on the podcast today, especially with it being kind of early January. People want to get in shape. People want to look good, which I think is awesome, but you want to make sure you're doing this in a healthy way, right? And being lean, especially as a bikini competitor, is something I have the utmost experience in, and obviously just being a coach as well. But I think a lot of people have the wrong idea about being lean or being fit. So here's what I mean. Most people think being lean means one of two things. Number one, if you're lean, you must be exhausted, anxious, and overly obsessed with food. Or number two, if you're lean, you must be super healthy and disciplined all the time. And let me tell you from personal experience, I've been through both extremes. So I prepped for shows where I was so shredded that I literally felt like I was falling apart. I'm talking cystic acne, bruises all over my body, hormones shot, sleep averaging maybe 4 hours a night. I was extremely lean, yes, but I felt absolutely terrible. On the other hand, I've also tried to stay healthy and lean in a sustainable way. And I realized that most people don't really know how to hit that middle ground, how to be lean, but not to feel like garbage. I promise you guys that this is possible. And it's really what I've been maintaining for the past year of my life, I would say. So this episode is not about being shredded 365 days of the year, because I can tell you guys that type of peeled is not possible without feeling absolutely terrible from my experience. So just to give you guys a little bit of insight, being stage lean means your body fat is extremely low, like 10 to 12% for females and 2 to 5% for males. So your abs are sharp, usually have veins visible throughout your body, and your muscles are fully defined. People who don't know much about fitness usually think that these types of physiques are healthy and attainable, but I'm here to tell you guys that year-round they are not, unless you want to sacrifice your health. And as a bodybuilder, you do have to make extreme sacrifices. It's an extreme sport, especially if you want to be the best, but that's for a whole nother episode. That's not what I'm trying to get into today. Today is just about achieving and maintaining, again, a healthy, lean physique that you're happy with. So what does it even mean to be lean without feeling like trash? Okay, let's break this down for a second. Starting with the first line, being lean. Visible abs, but not ultra etched veins or striations. Visible shape to your arms, your shoulders, and your legs. And you have tone, you have definition. Someone can stop you on the street and be like, damn girl, you look good, right? You're pretty lean. Just like it happened to me. Second half of the phrase, without feeling like trash. This means you still have energy, you still have strength in the gym, you have mental clarity, you have your hormone health, and you're not obsessed with food. Yeah, maybe you're a little hungry here and there, you're uncomfortable sometimes, but your body doesn't feel as if it's starving, okay? Now, of course, everyone's genetics are different. People have different maintainable lean ranges. For example, your friend might feel phenomenal at 12% body fat, but you low-key want to die at the same percentage. A good rule of thumb is that if you need extremes to maintain it, it's not a healthy lean. All this being said, let's talk about the first way to maintain a lean, impressive look year-round, have a great physique, and still feel pretty good. So the first thing is you have to stop living in a constant cut. In my early days of bodybuilding, I was overly obsessed with having a 1 week out look 24/7. So although I may have been in an extreme prep and extreme caloric restriction for 20 plus weeks, my crazy ass decided it would be a good idea to stay in that chronic deficit phase after my show and do the same amount of cardio until I eventually learned that this was only destroying my health, destroying my metabolism, and honestly, destroying my lifestyle. Examples of my crazy ass. Number one, post show, I was still taking fat burners. Secondly, I was still staying in this extreme caloric deficit, pretty much consisting of like my only thing I'm eating is asparagus and salmon, maybe more like, shrimp or like cod, some type of whitefish. No off-plan meals. I'm not going out to dinner. And I'm also taking like 15,000 steps a day on top of working in person as a trainer and doing 40 plus minutes of cardio on the Stairmaster. And of course, training like an animal. At this point, I'm pretty much just always training. Okay. It's just not a good recipe. But why? Why is living in a constant cut a bad thing? Because I feel like a lot of people don't know this. You may think chronically dieting, like, oh, I'm just always on a diet is just fine. But I'm here to tell you no. Actually, hell no. It's definitely not. And here's why. Chronic dieting will eventually backfire because the body and the brain are designed to protect you from perceived starvation, not to support long-term restriction. So what happens is when you're dieting for these extreme periods of time, your metabolism starts to adapt to this restriction. So you burn fewer calories doing the same activities and weight loss will stop or it'll just slow down. And you may even feel like, hey, I'm doing everything right, but my body's just like not responding at this point. It's like, no, babe, your body is not responding because you're actually doing everything wrong. On top of that, your hunger hormones increase. So you feel hungrier more often. You are less satisfied after meals. And like all you can think about is that damn bagel, like after you take a shower, that bagel's on your mind. During your workout, you're just thinking about that bagel. Maybe you're with your boo and like, it's just that blueberry bagel. It's not your boo, you're just food obsessed. This was me again in the past too. I remember like every 2 weeks when I was on a prep, I would have what's called a high day, which is pretty much just like a bump in food, especially in carbohydrates to help the body from plateauing. And then also to give the body a little bit of a break from dieting, but still stay like in a reasonable range. So anyways, I remember on my high days in the morning, I would get to have a bagel. That's always goes back to the bagel and like a little bit of almond butter. And y'all, I looked forward to this every other week Friday so much. Like I would be dreaming about it. Like in the morning, I was like eating that bagel, like eating that, almond butter. And I was like, please, no one talk to me. Like this is such a precious moment. Like just again, overly obsessed with food. On top of that, when you're in a constant cut, your ghrelin increases and your leptin decreases. Ghrelin is your hunger hormone, and then leptin, on the other hand, is your satiety hormone. Okay, so your body also becomes more efficient at storing fat because it's like, hey, we gotta hold on to something, right? So you're losing muscle mass a lot of times in a cut as well. And also when you try to go back in after a cut and eat somewhat normal, your body's like, no, like we're not used to this. You've been dieting for too long. So you start to put on fat way faster, and that's where yo-yo dieting comes in and becomes such an issue, and it's so common today too. On top of that, chronically dieting affects you psychologically. The mental wear and tear, not on your body, but I'm talking about on your mind as well, raises likelihood of, binge eating episodes, burnouts, overeating. From my experience, you will know when you're in a constant cut because your mind will be literally begging you to stop. I'm talking like your mind is on its hands and knees just begging you like, girl, please give me some food. Chronic caloric restriction also places a lot of stress on your body. So your cortisol levels are through the roof. You're damaging your hormones, which affect your mood, your focus, your energy levels, among so many other things, especially as a female. Your sleep is interrupted. Just not a good idea. But you know why this is bad. What can you do instead of a constant cut to still maintain a lean look? You want to stay at maintenance calories majority of the time. So maintenance calories are the amount of food you need to consume to stay at the same weight, not to gain weight, not to lose weight, just to maintain. You can also do small calorie cycling. And what I mean by that is this is a great strategy that I use for myself and a lot of my clients as well. On the days in which you're training, you want to eat a little bit more food than the days that you are not training. Specifically, I would say eat higher carbohydrates on the days that you're training and then lower the carbs a little bit on the days that you're not. Reason being, carbohydrates are the body's main fuel source. And to give your body a little bit more of that fuel when you are training, lifting heavy, is not only going to help you have a better workout, but it's also just going to make you feel better on that day. And the days where you're resting, again, you have to think about it like you just don't need it. So it's what I say kind of a lot, using the concept of food as fuel is a great way to kind of think about things. It's also going to ensure this calorie cycling that you're not putting on excessive body fat, because if you're eating like tons of carbs Monday through Sunday, every day of the week, yeah, maybe you're going to put on a little bit more body fat. But when you know, okay, I'm training 4 days a week, I'm not training 3 days a week, and I'm going to kind of calorie cycle in that specific format, eating more on those 4 days that I'm training, eating less on those 3 days that I'm not, that's going to put you in a pretty good position. Also, on a side note, if y'all do need help with coaching, I am accepting one-on-one training and nutrition clients. I'd love to help y'all. Just shoot me an email at kinsleymeeksfit@gmail.com to get started. I will leave that link in the show notes. But moving on, I want to say you don't stay lean by eating less forever. You stay lean by eating enough consistently. So next thing is you have to build muscle or you will literally struggle forever, okay? Most of you guys know me and the gym, we just got a special relationship. Like the gym, it's there for me when I'm sad. It's there for me when I'm happy, when I'm frustrated. The gym, it just makes me feel like I'm the only girl in the world, okay? For real though, you got to go to the gym. You have to build muscle in order to be lean, in order to look lean. The reason being is more muscle gives you a leaner look at a higher body fat percentage. So let me explain this right quick. Say you have two people and both are 20% body fat. You got person A, we'll call this person Jenny. She has less muscle, so her physique looks a little bit softer. Like she just doesn't look that great. But then you got person B, let's say her name is Nikki, okay? She has more muscle than Jenny. So she looks toned, she looks athletic, she looks lean. You want to look like person B. You want to be Nikki, you don't want to be Jenny. You feel me? So these girls are at the same body fat percentage, but they have very different appearances. With more muscle, you also maintain higher energy expenditure. So you're burning more calories while you're resting. Take me, for example, right now, I'm just podcasting. Like I'm literally chilling. I'm sitting down, but I have a lot of muscle. So naturally, my body burns more energy even when it's at rest. And it's not very dramatic in this one moment, but over time, I can promise you that this does add up. Another thing is, and I touched on this a little bit earlier, your fat loss when you do decide to cut is going to come from actual fat tissue when you are able to build and maintain lean muscle tissue. So you have muscle and you're actively maintaining it. Your body is most likely to pull energy from fat stores, not from muscle. You don't want to try to build a bunch of muscle and then just lose it all whenever you do start to go in a cut or whatever. So if muscle isn't being protected during a cut, the body will start breaking that down as well. And that's why a lot of people will lose weight, but they still don't look lean, okay? Because again, they're losing muscle. They're not doing it properly a lot of the time. Strength training needs to be a priority if you want to maintain a lean look. And just a couple things going into training that I think would be helpful. First off, you need to be strength training at least 3 days a week. Some people say 2, 5, 7, at least 3. That's my recommendation. That's just me. I think there's no reason that anyone can't take 45 minutes to an hour, 3 days a week and get to the gym. I think that's awesome. I think it's enough frequency. I think it's more about the intensity and what you do with your time when you're in the gym. So determining the right amount of volume for your body and using basic principles, for example, progressive overload. Always increasing the demand placed on your body over a period of time. You want to go in the gym and you want to progress, right? You shouldn't be using 5 pounds on your first day and then 5 pounds on your 79th day, right? You want to increase, again, the stress placed on your body, the good stress, right? The demand. It's not about also doing endless hours of cardio to get lean. This was another mistake that I made in my past. When I was younger, I did want to get a little bit leaner. I wish I had pictures to show y'all, but I looked very different. And I'm talking about when I was more like 15 to probably 19 years old, 18 or 19. I had a lot more body fat, but I was actually moving, I would say, a lot more than I was now. I would do these insane cardio workouts. Like I used to work at a gym And I remember running laps around the gym, then like hopping on an assault bike and like doing HIIT as fast as I could. Then I would like go do a couple burpees and then I might do like one bicep curl. Like, for example, workouts that just didn't make any sense. And once I started actually focused more on strength training and just using cardio as a little bit more of a tool, that's when my physique changed the most, on top of obviously dieting in a good way, in a healthy way as well. My workouts would be super challenging when I was running laps, but they just weren't the most effective in getting the look that I wanted to achieve. So you have to remember that strength training is the foundation. And again, cardio is more just so a tool. Next thing is you need to eat like a functioning human, okay? If you want to maintain a lean look, you cannot fear food. You also can't just go off the deep end. But obviously, you guys know that this episode is a little bit more catered towards someone who is trying to stay lean while still feeling good. So it's pretty simple. You want to prioritize clean macronutrients, nutrients that you eat in large amounts. Get your macros from whole foods, and you want to try to have as little processing as possible. Try to keep it to a minimum, okay? Protein is going to be the building blocks of your muscle cells. Carbs, again, are your main energy source. A lot of people think that a sweet potato is like the devil or something, and I can promise you it's not. Sweet potato is not that bad. Like, it's not going to do you too wrong. And then you have fats, which are super essential for your body, again, especially as a female. When we talk about healthy hormone production, when we talk about regulation of your body temperature, we talk about brain health, we talk about nutrient absorption. You have to make sure you're including healthy fats. And then signs that you're under eating is another topic I want to go into. All of these have happened to me. This is when you know that, yeah, you may be lean, but it is not healthy, okay? First thing is poor sleep. Being in a severe cut, I would wake up like 10 to 12 times a night. No exaggeration. So again, culmination of maybe like 4 hours of broken sleep throughout the night. You're just up all night. It sucks, okay? Second thing is low libido. This is kind of like when your hormones put you on airplane mode, okay? Like your partner is trying to come in, but you could not be less interested. This was me too. You're hot, you're looking good, you're lean, but you were absolutely not interested. Even a hug was like too much for me at the time. Not normal at all. Third thing is constant hunger. You're hungry when you wake up. You're hungry when you go to bed. It's 12 p.m. You are super hungry. You eat your meal number 3. 2 minutes later, you feel like you're starving. All day, all night, all you want to do is eat. And then lastly, irritability. Big warning sign that you guys should be aware of. You're absolutely mad for no reason at all. Again, this was me too. It would be like nothing even happened, but yet everything is annoying. This was probably the thing that I hated most about when I was dieting, and I never took it out on anyone. I'm always the type of person like, you got to deal with your own struggles. Do not put that on anyone else. However, internally, pure rage. Like someone would look at me the wrong way and I would be like, who do you think you're talking to? You feel me? Who do you think you are? Like, who is this person? And I'm like, man, I need to calm down. Like, your relationship with food is extremely important. And I can promise you, this is not the way you want to live long term. And you can still look amazing without feeling like you want to punch your neighbor or curse them out for looking at you sideways. Next thing is you need to start managing stress like it's part of your program. And to be honest, it is. Stress management is everything. Pushing through is not always a good idea, and your body will show it. Say you have high stress, your body is going to retain more water and more fat. Currently, we live in this hustle culture, and I get it. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get where you want to be, and that's fine. But if you want to be lean and still feel good, you have to learn how to manage your stress, at least to the best of your ability. So stressing the importance of sleep, rest days, not overtraining, and deloads, right? I wish I would have done this after many of my preps versus just hopping back into another show or just training super hard and heavy after your body has been through such an extreme. It is at some point time to back off a little bit and focus more on like your health and your mobility and your functionality. Again, long-term health. Taking intentional time to rest and de-stress is also super important. And I want to elaborate on that too. When I say rest your body and your mind, it's not like chilling on the couch, scrolling on your phone, or binge watching a TV show that you like, or being around someone who's making you feel worse. I don't know. It's more so about taking intentional time to yourself to feel your emotions, to be present, to kind of get away from everything else and just focus on what you need to do and focus on, again, like getting mental and physical rest. Being present in the moment. Good example of this too. I remember when I was in a chronic dieting phase for one of my last show preps, I was feeling super stressed when I was probably like 3 weeks out. And that's really close to a show. At 3 weeks, you really want to push. And I remember telling my coach, I'm like, gosh, like I just feel so worn down, like my body and my mind. Like it was to the point where my legs were just so heavy walking around, and like mentally, like I just didn't want to do anything. And he was like, we need to take a couple of days off. And of course, in the backside of my mind, I'm like, I want to be the best athlete. Like athletes don't take days off. But thanks to my coach, we actually ended up taking 2 days off, and I felt drastically better after those 2 days. And I also lost like 5 pounds. Like my physique really did transform just by taking more rest physically and mentally. So you cannot stress your way into being lean and having a six pack. You have to make a conscious effort to relax your body and relax your mind. That's what's going to make you a better athlete, or just make you better in your fitness journey in general, right? Next thing is I want to talk about daily movement without abusing cardio. This will help you get lean in a healthy way, no question. Moving in a more sustainable way. So you have something that's called your NEAT. That is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is the calories that you burn outside of your workouts. So for most people, NEAT is going to burn a lot more calories than actual workouts would be, because say you're at the gym, your strength training session is maybe 45 minutes to an hour. You're burning 400 calories at most. But say your daily movement, is 12 to 14 hours out of the rest of the day, you're burning a lot more calories in those 12 to 14 hours than that 1 hour at the gym. That's why two people with the same workouts can get completely different results. And to be honest, I think this is what helps me stay lean the most. I just like to move. I don't like sitting down for long periods of time. I'm always kind of fidgeting. It's 3 p.m. in the afternoon. I might just decide I want to do a backflip, or maybe it's 4 p.m. and I want to make a dance video. I do realize that most people are not doing that, but that's going to help you with your overall NEAT, burning more calories throughout the day. Ways to increase NEAT that are simple though. First thing is just parking further away. A lot of people think, and this makes me mad, when you go to the grocery store, you got to find the closest spot to the store. Like you have 2 legs, you can walk. Just put in a little bit more effort, It's not that hard. Walking more in general. Walking is so underrated, You can take the stairs. You can walk to go get your groceries if you're in a walkable city. Again, park further away. Another thing is just doing things around your house, cooking more meals at home, doing chores. Say you are watching something or you're on a Zoom meeting. In between those meetings or in between that YouTube video you're watching, get up and just pace around your house a little bit. It's the simple things. And I do understand also that these things do sound pretty boring. So you can also have a random dance party if you're like me, as frequently as you want to. That will not only boost your NEAT, but it will also boost your vibe. It'll boost your mood, okay? To maintain a lean look, you shouldn't have to abuse cardio. I'm talking back-to-back long sessions of cardio for weeks in a row without taking any rest. That is just not necessary. Yes, again, if you have a specific event or show that you're getting ready for, you got to do what you got to do. But we're talking about just to be lean year round, to feel good. You don't have to be on the Stairmaster for 2 hours a day. It's just facts. And then last thing is, I like to do what's called a mindset check very frequently. Staying lean without obsession. You have to prioritize your mental health and your mindset. You will feel like garbage if you are constantly chasing perfection and you're never allowing yourself to take any rest or any breaks. You have to understand that your weight is going to fluctuate, and social flexibility is also very important. Knowing your values clearly. Is the look that I'm trying to maintain negatively affecting other core values in my life that are important to me? Is it negatively affecting my family, my relationships, my career, my mental health? And if there is a yes to any of those answers, then you're straight just too lean. You're doing too much. What you're doing is not working. Your core values should always come first, in my opinion. And this used to be me as well. The only thing I really cared about was how I looked. Okay. Not in a vain way, like, oh, look at me, but in a way of like, I'm just obsessed with having this 6-pack. Like I'm obsessed with my food. I'm obsessed with my training. And again, there's a time and a place for that season if you want to be competitive in whatever you're doing, but to live like that year round is not sustainable and it's not healthy. You really don't have to micromanage everything to look good and be sustainable. People try to tell you do, but you don't. You can still have more flexibility. You can go out to dinner every once in a while. You can miss one meal. You can get sick and miss one training and you're still going to be okay. Again, you have to be super disciplined. You have to be goal oriented, but you cannot set unrealistic expectations for yourself and expect to be able to follow through with them and not feel bad when you don't. So yeah, this is pretty much just the basics about it is possible to be healthy and still have a very lean physique that you're happy with. You can still have a six pack with a little bit of flexibility in your life. I promise you guys, I'm an advocate for that. Time and a place for everything. So to wrap up today, eat enough, prioritize strength training, rest more than you probably think you need to, resting your body and resting your mind, manage your stress, listen to your body and listen to your mind. Know that everyone's acceptable lean range is going to be very different. And that is pretty much all I have for you guys today. Before we finish the show, I want to take a question from a listener. Y'all remember, if you do want to send in any questions, the best way to do that is through @CurlsandCourage Podcast on Instagram or just @YoIt'sKenslow. Always love connecting with you guys and seeing what you guys have to say. So here's the question for today. What are your favorite sportswear/activewear brands at the moment? Need some inspo. Okay, so when it comes to sportswear, that is one of my favorite things to wear. I have more of like a street style and a sportswear style. That's pretty much all I wear. I don't wear a lot of like super nice clothes. It's just not necessarily my vibe. So when we talk about activewear, I enjoy a lot of different brands, and a lot of times I'll mix and match brands. I think for me, what I'm wearing right now, Bonafide is a great brand. I like Bombshell Sportswear. It's super great quality, but it is a little bit expensive. Diosafit is one that's still very good quality, very flattering on the body when it comes to like athletic training, but it's a little bit less expensive, which is also very nice. And then literally any Brazilian brand that I have tried is awesome. Brazil, honestly, they just know how to make the body look good and how to find these just amazing, like creative, cool fits. And then also just Amazon has some pretty good stuff, especially if you're balling on a budget. And then when we talk about more so like athleisure, I really like Skims. I like Nike. I like Adidas. A company called Garage is also really good, or a brand called Garage. And then honestly, I always favor comfort and creativity when it comes to any sort of fashion. So that's what I look for, and I'll put the link to some of these brands in my show notes as well. So hopefully that helps. Hope you guys enjoyed today's show. If you liked it, please follow Curls and Courage on any major podcast platform. Share the show with a friend who you feel like it could help them. Rate the show, review the show, and then also subscribe to the channel. Super excited that we finally got the podcast up on YouTube. You guys have no idea how hard it was for me to just operate literally like the simplest camera, but we got it now, all good to go. So definitely leave a like, leave a comment, show some love. That would mean so much to me. Check out the podcast every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on WDJY 99.1 FM radio. Again, your support means the world. And if you guys are interested again in coaching, feel free to shoot me an email at kensleymeeksfit@gmail.com. But thanks again for watching today's show. I hope it helped you in some type of way. Giving y'all the love always. Keep prioritizing your body and your mind, and you're going to be straight. Talk to y'all next Thursday. Appreciate y'all.